Today, we will talk a little bit about the composer Richard Wagner's music. I don't know how many of you know Wagner or much about him, but this is Richard Wagner right here. He was what one could easily call a unique composer for many reasons. Uh, Among them was the way he wrote his music. Uh, when he wrote music, he wrote not just melodies, tunes that singers would use and the orchestra would play, but he had what's called a leitmotif. Now, that means a motive, a certain kind of musical intervals and sounds that represented a certain character, let's say, or a certain idea. And those would play, let's say, whenever that character appeared or whenever that character was singing, you would hear it underneath the voice in the instruments. Also, for example, there would be times when the leitmotif of a certain character would fall underneath another singer. So you know that other singer was not actually following his own character, he was talking about that other character, maybe even lying about him or something like that. And the leitmotifs change in some way emotionally and with their rhythm and with their tunes, but depending on what happens to that character during the time lapse of the opera that's being performed. So that was a bit. Now, other composers, of course, have used that, but none as thoroughly nor none as deeply as Richard Wagner did. So that was something very unique about him to start with. And also another thing about it, Wagner had the idea that music was not just to be uh, played on a stage and so forth, but he wanted it to be completely uh, operatic and theatrical at the same time. So that whatever was going on the stage could be seen by the public. But the orchestra was put underneath the stage so it would not be seen. It could be heard. So all the music under the stage was what filled your ears, but what was going on the stage filled not only your ears with the singers, but your eyes with the drama as it was performed. This is also a Greek idea that Wagner took from. The idea that theater and music should be combined as a unit. This was also unique about Wagner. In fact, Wagner went so far as to lay out how to build his own particular theater just for the performance of his works so that they would not be performed anywhere else. And that was called the Bayreuth Theater, Beyreuth Theater in Germany. And for many, many years, none of his works, none, were allowed to be performed anywhere else except in that one particular theater. And this was also unique. And after Wagner was no longer living, some of his sons, uh, also and relatives, took over the theater to make sure that that tradition survived as well. Uh, and the woman he ultimately married, who was originally the wife of the composer Franz Liszt, took over that same idea and kept everything in the theater as long as possible. We will continue this momentarily.